not here at the table, nor is she online. So Anna has graciously volunteered to take the notes tonight, but we do have a lot of people online.
Lucky you.
And we have people in the room, so here is able to learn to be online, so. My voice is echoing from different
Okay,
parts.
that happens with the live stream, we're all set.
Okay, and we have transcription on.
Yes, we do.
All right. The other thing that I will ask, even though we know each other, because we are probably going to the transcriptions for a lot of the information, if you could state your name, right, when it goes back and forth. If you've got a question that you're interjecting under somebody else's report section, that will help when we go back, right? So instead of trying to read it and say, that sounds like Leona, or that sounds like Leanne, if I know who it is, then that will help when we do the note. So I appreciate everybody going through that.
Definitely.
So I'll start. Welcome to the Lucy Robbins Wells Library Board of Trustees meeting for Monday, January 8th. I appreciate folks coming. Anna, are you prepared to do a roll call?
I am. So I'm gonna read the names. I mean, I've been
Okay.
watching everybody come in, but I'll go through the process anyway. George.
Bernacco, yep. Present.
Is Annie Brecker there?
No.
And he's not. No, and she's not online, so he's absent. All right. I'm here. Pauline Crook,
Here.
Iris,
Here.
Fine.
Leanne. I saw Leanne.
Here.
Maureen. I see Maureen. Chris Riley.
Here.
He's here.
Okay. Neil. I see Neil.
Yep,
Chris?
I'm here.
Here. I see Chris. Diane. I see Fiona.
Fiona's here.
Here.
You're in the room. Lisa.
Here.
Karen.
She's here.
Karen. Okay, great. Is Sheila Rowell there? Anybody from the Friends? Yes?
Sheila is here, yes.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. And Town Councilman David Nagel.
Here.
And Kim.
And Kim is here.
And who?
Kim
Fine.
Rada.
Oh,
You're
Kimrata.
both.
Oh, welcome. All right. I can't see the room, so, all right.
Agenda. Okay, great. So looking in the room, we do not necessarily have public participation. I don't see anybody online. I don't know.
There's nobody online.
And there's nobody online. Okay. So from public participation, we will go to town council liaison. Before we start, I want to welcome Dave Nagel back. And I'd like to welcome Kim Rada as being one of our other liaisons. So welcome.
Happy to be here.
Great. It's a rough and ready road. So at this point, we invite either one of you. You can arm wrestle who goes first to bring up anything or say.
Wow.
Right, I don't know if we really have a whole
No,
lot.
I don't
to
think
say.
there's anything new aside from what I informed it was going to happen prior to our last, before our last council meeting. In terms of Central Facilities Committee, I don't know. I don't think Kim knows either what's going to come to pass or not with that. I know it's a favorite question.
Do you have full contingent? This is Leanne speaking.
Yeah, I think we do.
In terms of,
Members of
Membership on
that committee.
on that, the permanent building committee.
I am on that as well as a liaison.
I know there
Right,
were
but there-
three.
There are three, I thought there were five total.
This is Pauline. We have two will be putting up the next council meeting.
Oh, well, there's your answer.
Okay, see?
So we have three
Three
and
and two is
two
five,
names are
yeah.
coming up and five is the number that we're looking to place.
Yes.
Right.
Mhm.
Thank you.
I can't think of anything else. We're on the brink of budget season,
Mhm.
which you all know, I'm sure. So that's about it. And we're meeting tomorrow night.
Yes.
We have a council meeting.
So stay tuned.
Great, thank you. Secretary report, Iris?
I have one report.
No report, okay.
So
So
the easiest job there is. You don't have to ever make a report.
that's gonna be mine next year.
I called it.
Okay, we'll have some kind of an arm wrestle later tonight, one way or the other.
We pay each other off.
So at this point, I'd like to, review the minutes from last month. Does anybody have any changes, corrections, or clarifications?
The last name is Bernoccco, not Nacco.
I'm sorry, George, say it again.
Bernoccco. There's just an A there.
Okay. I do believe it's a case of once somebody gets it wrong somewhere, it pops up wrong over and over again. So we apologize for that. Thank you. So we'll get that correct spelling.
It is correct on the listing, right?
Yeah, it's correcting, it's correct on the,
On the
Well,
board
yeah.
trustee list?
yeah, but it's just the minutes of it.
Was that the, I watched it on.
And I don't know if you see Andy Brecker just joined us.
Okay,
Hi there.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as printed with the correction.
who is that?
Leanne,
Leanne. That's the other thing. She can't look up and it's hard remotely what have you.
And who did the,
So-
I'm sorry, who did the second?
I'll second, George Bernoccco will second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Opposed? No. Thank you. Motion carries with the corrected spelling of George's last name. We'll approve the minutes. Review of the annual activities committee. We did have our first 5K race committee in the last half hour with Kevin Mason and Ron Tomadio and Paul was Lavinia was here from the radio league, so we are getting ready to go forward, pick that up. Looks like some of the sponsorships have come in and what have you, so we're well on our way for that. We have the library budget work with the director, and I know that there's some information to be given at that point to go through, and then I think they were turned in, right? The budgets were turned in, or they're due?
No, they're January third.
January 5th, put in, okay. And then, PEP, director evaluations.
I haven't been able to do it. I'll give it to you tomorrow.
Okay, so, that's the other thing that happens in January.
I would like to add something to your
List?
big list. Just simply, it's one of those things that, this is Leanne, by the way.
Thank you.
One of the things that I just automatically do, and I kind of assume everyone knows, is in January, I have to do the 1099s for the subcontractors. So I just don't want that to get forgotten if I'm not the treasurer. It's on my list of things to do when you are the treasurer, but it's one of those things that has to be done at the very beginning of the year so that they can get them by the February 1st.
Okay, I will add that into my activity report. So that when I pass it off to the next president. All right, thank you, Leanne. Treasurer's report, Leanne Makin.
I sent out the report for, period ending December 31st. I am in process of putting the drafts together for the accountant for, just making sure I actually have them done. I just want to review them before they send them out to the accountant tomorrow so that he can file them electronically with the IRS. And then I will get the originals back and we can mail them out to our subcontractors who are over 600. There aren't a lot. We have a lot of small ones who fall under the line, but, still have to go through and make sure that we are good with the government. As to our accounts, our checking account at the end with the unrestricted funds was at $52,065. The money market restricted funds at TD is at $40,970.35. The Kingston non-investment account, which are primarily CDs and other more cash-based vehicles, it stands at $266,336.34. All reimbursements have been balanced at the restricted funds, and I am currently in process of putting together the restricted reports for the quarter so that circulation and you all have them so that we have our funds allocated I have been very pleased that we seem to be using some of those funds that were just kind of sitting dormant for a while, large print in Davis and whatever, so that they're getting utilized for the collection rather than pulling from our unrestricted funds, which is kind of leaves us with a little bit more money to play with rather than things that are specifically earmarked. I do have in my pending folder, I know we're gonna have a sleeve presentation, so that will be coming up in the next couple months, that we'll have a larger payout on that. And the restricted, unrestricted fund breakdown for the end of the year is at the base of the report. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Leanne. Questions for Leanne? If you are online, don't hesitate to call out. I'm trying to watch the room and watch the cameras, but takes a skill. Thank you, Leanne. Next, we'll move on to the library director's report. Lisa Maston.
Hi, everyone. So, I mean, one of the big news for us is the Jamie Trevathan is our acting town manager, and she already met with each of the department heads. I met with her actually the week after. So that was nice, and she just wanted to kind of get the lay of the land and see if there's anything that we needed to move forward immediately. So we're working with Jamie and waiting to see what the next step is from the town council, and they give us that direction. The SLEVA event that Leanne just mentioned, it's actually February 7th, 5th and 7th. It's gonna be Jarrett Krozaka. He's written the Star Wars Jedi Academy series, and he's gonna visit all the elementary schools in town for kids, and he also does some illustration, so it should be a really fun event for the students.
So I'm supposed to be doing the art demo at the schools? Is that what the
Yes,
plan is?
yes, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So the library is actually closed for 4 days around the holidays, and when we came back on the 27th, I have to give kudos to our staff. We had 1 hour to clean up everything that, they had like 7 or 8 carts of books that had to be discharged within an hour. We had all the holes to pull that people had put on in 4 days that we were closed, and everybody got everything done by 10 o'clock. It was kind of amazing. Talk about teamwork. So they did a really great job that morning.
Great to hear.
Yeah, the winter reading, our kickoff is January 31st for adults. It's Read Around the World. Teens, children's and teens will be the following Saturday, which that's when they also have Take Your Child to the Library Day. They kind of do it in combos, so they're gonna have that, and I forget what the date is. I'll tell you really quickly. It's February 3rd, so that would be their kickoff, and that's funded by the Friends of the Library. We actually had more staff training this morning for the managers of the library. We did more training with Yvonne from Indelible Impressions, and she talked more today about communication, and also is giving us some ways to help deal with difficult patrons, because we're continuing to have that. So we've had a few incidences in the past, well, Friday, and then couple weeks before that. So, and it's hard for staff, you know, you don't know, it's it's difficult sometimes, especially if there's mental health issues involved. And I know a lot of you saw that the library did receive money from the State Bond Commission that will be used to make improvements more to offices, but also some of the areas in the library, just so better used to repurpose space, to replace furniture that's really outdated, to give everybody who works in an office an actual desk to sit at and work at. There's 2 offices where that's not possible right now. So we were really thrilled with that. Matt Lesser is the reason why it went forward. The governor approved it, the bond commission approved it, so it was a nice thing. And
Any idea, I'm sorry,
Sorry.
any idea when you'll actually receive the funds?
not yet. And we also are deep into Winterfest, so that's our total focus in the next week and a half. So don't expect anything from us. So that's it.
Lisa, I would just like to add to the, over the holiday break, I did get an email from my company just confirming that I'm sponsoring the grant that you guys have written, so I'm assuming it's in process. As I said, I don't know, I don't see the inner workings of it, but they at least sent an email out just to confirm that I was sponsoring.
That's
it.
really cool. The grant for that he's talking about was to do with STEM related programming and materials that
You better the plan commission close to.
teens to use, and they have a lot of really good ideas for different kinds of programs we could offer where we could pay presenters to come in that have, you know, can really make it interesting for students and also to beef up our collection for students as well. So that would be really.
This is Diane. If I remember correctly, I think the decision time is in February. at some
Yeah,
point, so-
I believe that's when the decision time was and everything, but I at least got contacted about it, so.
Yeah. Nice to know they're meeting. Thank you, Lisa. First. Any other questions for Lisa?
Yes,
Go ahead, Andy.
tell us about Wildberry.
Wildberry is a service that you can register for, and every Saturday morning, you get an email that lists the newest items added to the collection. And it's also got a running feed on the front of our webpage, so you can see. And the nice thing about that is you get kind of a first dibs maybe that something new is coming out. And when possible, you can place a hold on it. Sometimes the records are hidden for various reasons, which I'm not going into, but it's a nice service for people that like to see like the new movies, the new books, and they want to get it first. And every Saturday morning, I get an email in my, that lists that, gives me the link to the newest,
So
title.
they're mining our website to put that on?
Yep.
So the reason this came up is because my wife has been irritated with her book club selections.
Mhm.
And one of the sources is you go, the library comes and says the book's available. And it never is, not on that date. But
So the worst thing,
afterwards.
this is a suggestion for a book club. The worst thing you can do is pick a brand new book for your book club, because you're not gonna get it at the library easily. But it isn't always available, right? Because some of it is it's been ordered and the record is in the catalog. So you can place the hold, but that doesn't mean that it's immediately available.
And there might be 12 libraries that are listed
Yep.
as having it, and all of them next to it have the notation unavailable.
That's correct, yeah.
Well, most libraries do not lend new materials. You cannot, we can't request it for you. You can go there if it's there, but they will not. Forget, we want to have it for our patrons first.
What do they consider new? Is it 2 weeks? No.
No.
How much longer than that?
6 months.
Interesting.
Okay, well, thank you.
Neil, did you have something to add?
No,
No?
no, I'm just doubting myself.
Sorry, I had a question.
Diana?
So Lisa started off, her report was indicating that she met with Jamie as the interim town manager. And I guess I've been too busy with my own holiday preparations. I had no idea what happened. What happened to the previous manager?
Yeah, Kim Rada's gonna answer that.
Hi, this is Kim. Yeah, very briefly, and Dave, jump in at any moment. Our recent town manager, Tom Hutka, is taking a personal leave. And so in this interim, Jamie Trevethan is now our acting town manager. And he started his leave prior to the Christmas holidays.
So he's just on leave. He didn't resign.
Right at the moment, the information is that he is taking personal leave.
So Anna, this is Andy Brecker, the town councilors are being very delicate in their responses because of the legal situation. with
No, I
the-
don't need any more detail. I was
But
just
he's-
taken off
He's not
guard.
he's not expected back. Jamie is on a 90-day contract, which can be renewed.
Okay,
And to the best of my knowledge, she is fixing a lot of stuff that hadn't been attended to for the previous 6 months, and I would imagine Lisa, like many other directors, are very pleased that she's in that position and making things move forward.
Well, she certainly knows what goes on in that town manager's office. I mean, she was there long enough. And she served, she served town managers for years, so good for her.
Just to add one little tidbit, the council voted unanimously to appoint Jamie as the acting town manager. Everyone got along, 9-0. So,
Wow, that speaks a lot.
yes, exactly. I want to add that. I think that's important to know.
Thank you.
David, I can attest to that, both sides of the aisle are fully aware of. I am, having been on the council off and on for more years than other people have, as to what her background is and her ability to function in many capacities, and definitely having been in the office as the so-called sidekick to a former town manager, she knows the ins and outs of how things are managed. And she, as has been pointed out, is only there for 3 months, and we will see what happens then, or doesn't happen then. She definitely, I attended the senior center meeting. I'm a liaison to that too, and she definitely told the group there that she is just there for the 3 months and has someone who is second in command there filling in there. So there is no plan beyond that. Correct?
Correct.
Thank you for the insight.
Thank you both. Okay, any other questions for Lisa? No? All right, we'll move on to the Assistant Library Director's report. Karen Benner.
I just have two quick things. I think I had mentioned in a previous meeting that I was a member of the Friends Scholarship Committee, which is a new scholarship that's going to be available to seniors this year. So we've had some changes, and certainly feel jump in if you want to. And the reason why I'm mentioning it is going to change how we move ahead. The deadline that students were working with was going to be February. It's now going to be late April, and it has to do with the high school and their eligibility requirements and how things had to be submitted and what residency requirement. There were a number of things. So that is in the works. It's kind of nice because it will give students a little bit more of an opportunity to accumulate more hours because they will have more time to do that. So as soon as Winterfest is through, we'll be meeting and trying to honor all that out. And then the other thing, just as we are attempting to replace the people counter that has not been working well for the past at least year. A little more involved than we thought it was gonna be. So we're probably gonna get something a little more high end than we have had in the past. Because we have had a lot of trouble with it working. So we're in the process of doing that, and hopefully that's gonna be.
It will integrate with the current system, whatever you're getting, so.
Yeah.
This is Chris, I was just curious how the people counter work, because I always see the numbers and I see everything come up, and I guess I'm just not aware, is it just?
So it's really not working
Okay.
right now.
Oh, yeah.
The
How's it
standard
supposed
one that we rely on. What we're using for numbers, which is not always 100% accurate, are it's through something called MK systems, but they're the gates
Okay,
that you're coming in and out of.
okay.
It just catches you when you walk through the door.
Anytime you're.
It has to be high enough. Well, not too low, but you wanna catch little bodies too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just catches you as you walk through.
Okay.
What we had previously been working until they changed the entranceway here. And believe it or not, it sort of redirected the sun. And then the sun has something to do with actually the type of system that we have. That really, I mean, when IT first mentioned it to us, we were like, you've got to be kidding me. And then we started talking to these vendors and they're like, oh yeah. So anyway,
Just put up some tinting on the windows.
well, they actually came, remember that? They had pieces of cardboard and we were moving things around. Anyway. That is it for me. Thank you.
Any other questions for Karen besides the people counter, which is different than a people leader?
Just one
Go
more,
ahead,
I guess.
Chris.
I think in a previous meeting, there was mention about the niche academy program. And that there was possible courses or training or whatever that might be applicable for the board, but I haven't seen anything. I was just wondering.
Yes, and we looked and there are a few things and I will make a note and send that out to Diane. And she can- Yes, there were a few things that were geared towards trustees.
I just have something to piggyback. Leanne, this is Leanne. I just want to remind the board and remind you, which you both know, but, keep in mind that it has been several years since the Palomino Scholarship has been taken advantage of by the staff. And I know we have people going to school, so that is available.
And can you give a summary of what that is for some of the newer
I'm
board
sorry.
members?
It was funded by a former, family of former board member. And the scholarship is geared toward assisting staff as they pursue, various degrees for the library, sciences, et cetera, or whatever they're going for. We've had people use it in the past. I think COVID kind of put a kibosh on it because people kind of stopped doing that for a while. But I just don't want it to get forgotten.
You can also use it for professional development
Right.
as well.
How much money is in it?
Usually,
Roughly.
Roughly. Hold on,
they've got to
Go
go
to
to
that
that
folder.
folder they give out a year.
Yeah.
In this.
Hold on.
It also depended on how many people we had in library school.
Yeah, because there's only so much per year or something.
Yeah, it's usually, it's not a huge fund. For some reason, 14,000 is coming to mind, but it's like $1,000 about that. For the, is usually the usual scholarship amount that has been given. Sorry,
Okay,
I don't have
that's
that with
fine.
me.
It's not 200,000, it's not 2,000.
No, it's not. It's around, I think it's 14.
Okay, we can come back to that if you find it or
Yep.
be shared later. Any other questions for Karen? I'll try that one more time. No. All right, moving on to the Friends report with Sheila Rao.
As Lisa mentioned, we're sort of all involved with the Winterfest and we'll be very glad when that's completed. We will enjoy being there too at the time, because we always do. We also have had and I don't know whether it's because everybody was home for the holidays and had nothing better to do than clean their house. An incredible load of donations. In the past couple of weeks, we scheduled several extra sorting and packing sessions to take care of that. So getting, and starting to think about the book sale coming up.
There's a date on that, but it's
The book sale, May 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, I think. Second, third, and maybe second, but, it's
Any of
the
the senior
first
center?
weekend in May, yeah.
not doing outdoor book sales anymore.
No, it's really not enough to, it's your big days. Yeah, it might snow, yeah, who knows with this weather. But it's also, we're trying to think of other ways to market the stuff that we do. We're gonna try, we started trying to work on, Friends Picks. As we're sorting the books, we pick out books that are like, wow, this really blew me away. And stick them off in one area, to try to make sales that way, because there's a lot of really wonderful books that kind of get lost in the mass of books, especially history books or biographies. We have so many of them that I think some of the really good ones get lost in the shuffle.
Thank you. Good luck on the 19th. I have my tickets. I'll see you then.
Absolutely.
Right, any questions for Sheila?
Just a comment, but the Friends are meeting this Wednesday, correct?
Yes.
And I'll be attending for the library board. That's all.
Okay, thank you.
I'll be there, hopefully, with all the answers,
Take good notes.
much as I can.
Committee report, budget. Leanne, can you report on budget?
Well, I'm just basically going to, repeat what Lisa and crew and company have done a tremendous job. I guess they met with, Jamie, as she mentioned, to kind of go over things. One thing that did get put back in our requested budget was that library one position in collection management that has been unfunded since 2020. It's been a position but not funded. We put it in, hoping it will go through so that we can have that position back available. No guarantees that we'll stay in or get cut, but, that puts us with an overall increase in the budget at 5.64 without percent. Without this position in the budget, the overall increase is 2.38, and that's due primarily to the town approved raises for admin, AFSME, full-time staff and the part-time staff. There was no increase in non-payroll items, and the budget line items, you know, are pretty typical looking. We basically told the line, keeping everything down with the exception of the raises, and then potentially getting that one position back funded again, which we lost a few years ago.
But the raises, we don't have.
We have no
That's-
control over that. That's, that's 2.38 right there, just on existing staff. So.
I have a question for Leanne. Does
Yeah.
Leanne, do you look like you were ad-libbing, but do you have those notes written?
I can send that to you, Anna.
Yeah, we can send, I can send you those numbers.
Okay, that'd be
that way-
great. Yeah,
That way
Thank
you have
you.
it. And basically all I'm going to do is plagiarize Lisa.
Yeah,
So-
Can I ask a question about that librarian one, rural collection management? What does that mean for?
So it's a position that is in the tech services, but they also do work on a reference desk, they do programming, they do collection development.
Oh, so they do a lot more than.
Yeah, it's like it's a 70-30, like 70% collection management, 30% reference and other. But a lot of, it's a shared position within two different departments, and
Okay.
a lot of those duties have been farmed out. Or we've had to not do certain things because we've been down that full-time position.
Thank you.
Lisa, if, and the context here is we haven't had an increase in our collection budget in, I think, we estimate 6 or 7 years.
Well, now
And
15.
more than that, and there's been huge inflation
Mhm.
since then. This just gets cut or not increased every year, which puts us further and further and further and further behind. If we had a choice between restoring that position or a $90,000 increase in our collection budget, which would you recommend?
It's a hard choice. Well, collections are, you know, remember, there are resources that they can use, which is like some of our funds, the board funds. We have funds that people have actually dedicated to particular collection types, so we can utilize those. They're not hugely overwhelming, but at least they're a resource that they can use. They don't have to, they can supplement what the town is giving them.
Well, this is happening throughout the town. I
Right.
mean, all departments have been strangled for years.
Right, no, I
And
hear you.
the Board of Ed is the best example, right? And they keep finding one-time money and throwing it at it and covering up what the fundamental issue is, which is we continue to pay people. We continue to give them raises based on the negotiated increases, which I think, Board of Ed 4.5% for
We
the
didn't get
next,
that, just so you know.
for the next 3 years? Yeah, I know, but the point is that
No, I know what
the,
you're
the
saying.
budget, we may have had a decrease in the mill rate for the last 4 years, but the budget's gone up 12 or 14% overall for the town in that time. How do you do it? You don't fund the parts and pieces that you need to actually do your job. You have all the people to do it, but you don't give them the stuff so they can actually get the job done. So I think it's time that we take a stand and say, listen, enough, okay? If we're gonna have a library, it needs to have the materials that people want to access. And that takes money. And I don't know where we are in the budget process, but I would submit that we argue for increasing that collection budget and maybe other components that have been stripped down to nothing because of inflation. And put it in the council's lap to do something about it.
Well, we've actually submitted the budget as of the 4th of January, so what's gone in is basically the status quo plus the request.
As requested by the town manager's
Right.
budget, if council advice, whatever they give you. The
Well,
rules. You followed the rules.
We do, yeah, we do.
So it is a good point, this is Diane, it is a good point, and many of our, collections cost us more now because of the e-reader type subscriptions and how that works. It's no longer you buy a 300-page book and put it on your shelf and keep taping it until it can no longer be taped, right? The ebook, subscriptions and stuff like that can only be rented so many times and then you have to buy them new again. So it is a different world. It is a different cost structure. So it hurts.
Yeah, I mean, $60 in electronic form for a $30 book. And you have it at best a year to 2 years.
Depends on how many checkouts, right?
Yeah.
It's also time.
It's
limit.
also and this time, so there's 2 restrictions on it.
So they got us, right? The publishers have us. And unfortunately, we can't fight back. I know as a state, the state library is advocating, right, that there's going to be at least one bill in the legislature this year that probably, even if it passes, is worthless because they don't have a jurisdiction over a publisher in California. But the point is, if that's the way the world is, then we have to buck up and pay for the world the way it is.
Well, I will tell you from a treasurer's standpoint, looking at, I'm very impressed by how our collection management process goes through in terms of the choices that they make and they're extremely good at what they do with their limited funding that they have. They're very good about stretching that almighty dollar. But again, yes, would it be, in a perfect world, it would be wonderful to have a larger budget. I don't know how successful it will be, but I also know too, that I hate to, at least it couldn't really make the call. What do you want, the person or the collection? That person does a lot more than just collection management. And there are tasks that have fallen by the wayside over the course of the last few years because they just can't stretch the time. Time is a finite component as well. There's only so much of it and people can only do so much with their time. So I think putting that, hopefully if we can gain that person back, then we start looking at the other and we start looking for more money in the collection.
I also think that looking at how the library is used and what services we're offering and what's being used, I mean, it's not just collections anymore. So it's time to do those other things that we just don't have. Or we are stretched so thin we can't do anymore. And we do want to offer services to patrons besides, the reading of books. I mean, that's our big purpose, but we do other things now. And those are things we have, some of them we can't do anymore because we just don't have enough people. I don't know, Andy.
Okay, no, thank you, but I
know what you're saying. I mean,
it's a necessary
No, I agree.
discussion.
I agree. In
And-
general, for everybody, all the departments. Great.
Any other questions or discussion on the budget? Anna, your hand is up, but I'm thinking you're not asking a question.
Sorry.
That's okay. Pat, planning, evaluation and policy, Pauline Crock.
I have been reading some of the documentation that was sent to me, given to me by Mr. Goodgen. And I'll have a list for just things I'm questioning whether or not something has to get updated or. Sure. Yeah.
For the policies?
Yeah, and then I'll have, if Lisa wants to do something, then we'll call the board together to discuss it. Especially since I have no problem with patron issues.
Well, luckily you beefed up your policy there, the behavior policy in 2020, because that's
Yeah.
much more, really expanded what people can and cannot do,
Yeah.
like heckling presenters, and that wasn't there, specifically in there before, now it is, so it gives us more to back us up when we have to approach them on that behavior.
Or just keep a list of types of things that are going.
And just keep adding them in.
Well,
I'm sorry, I have to ask Pauline to repeat what kinds of documents she's reviewing because she's kind of afar from the.
it's the policy and procedure manual for the library. Their policies and what they're, like if you're having a patron coming in that is eating, or a patron coming in that's dressed inappropriately or is talking disruptive.
No, but it's the policies and procedures for what?
For the library.
For library staff.
Library staff.
Oh, for library staff? No.
Yes, some of the procedures haven't been updated for quite a while. And I'm just going through them to see whether or not there has to be updates.
It's for library staff and patrons.
No, I get what the policies and procedures are, but she's reviewing all of them that are already in place to see if any need to be updated. Is that it?
Correct.
Oh, okay. All right. Made it sound more complicated, Pauline. Sorry.
It's not some work, I just, but if you need feedback, if I see something that I think has to be done and then talk to Lisa, and if Lisa doesn't feel that it's necessary, then.
Okay. Good. Any other questions for Beth at this point? Yeah. Director Egos?
Yeah.
We've got that going. Okay, good. All right, next up would be Investment Committee with Neil Ryan.
Okay, good. I emailed the report out earlier today, and if you've had a chance to look at it, you'll see that December was a good month for a portfolio. Our value changed by $11,611.21. We were up that amount, and we finished the year December 31st, 2023. Our portfolio is valued at $37.90. So for the year, the calendar year 2023, we were up about 12%, which I say is a very good year. And it was an up and down year. Middle of the year was kind of rough, but we finished strong. And no, I have to say it's a very good, turned out to be a very good year for our portfolio. I can't state it any more plainly than that. And I think Dean deserves all the credit in the world for this because, like I said, it's been a very good year. And there's one line item I want to just briefly mention. If there's a line item for income, and each month it shows a certain amount of gain in income. And what that income represents, it's dividends, interest, and capital gains distribution during the course of the year. Dividends that are cash, interest, capital gains. So that's when I say the portfolio is up $11,611.21, that's the value of the mutual funds that we have, where our money's invested. the income is from different sources, like say dividends, interest, capital gain. So really, for the month, we were up about $20,000 if you had those two items. I just want to bring that up in case you wondered what each represents. The change in value is the increase in the value of our stocks. Basically, they increased, they went up in price, so that's the increase in value. And then the income, like I say, is from dividends, interest, and capital gains, which is like, that's all.
Thank you, Nate. I know we all sweated it earlier.
Well,
The market here.
I want to explain that because I've looked it up myself. I thought, I have never really discussed what that represents. But anyway, so like I say, it was a very good year for our portfolio, and I can't say anything more other than this very good year, a 12% increase.
Thanks, Neil. Does anyone have questions for Neil? No? All right, so you got the reports and email. Thank you, Neil. Appreciate it. House Committee, Diane Stan. So, I did email out the House Committee updated report from the walkthrough. I try to highlight the things that have been done in the past month. As you know, it's a long list and some things are seasonal. One thing that got snuck in was the replacement tree. As you come in and out of the library where the little free library is, that tree had died and there's a new tree there now. So, fingers crossed that it makes it through the winter and the rest of its little life there. So again, a lot of that stuff is handled by the town facilities.
That was Parks and Grounds.
That's Parks and Grounds, yeah, I'm sorry. You're being specific.
No,
I'm being general.
No, I know.
But the town handles a lot of things, but also Dave Brown handles a lot of the interior, some of the more minor things, the touch-ups,
He touched up the wall in here.
I was gonna say, yeah, as we walk through, the chair rail, the wooden chair rail here, when we were through, we're like, that's getting beaten up, but that's the kind of thing that he does that our, overall town facility maintenance, parks and grounds, whatever, would not do. So, really, I think the team is doing very well. I think the library overall looks good. And we do have some projects coming up. We'll go through based on time of year and schedules for those with talents that may or may not do.
Well, I'm waiting, granted January is a tough month, but Dave said that he would be taking a look at the hardware on the curtains for me, so that I have a better idea in terms of sleeving.
Super.
And as I said, I'm hopeful that we can do the majority of the fabric with the balance of the upholstery fabric from the chairs, so that they will be complementary. This room will probably do something different.
Great. Thank you.
Is
So,
Dave Brown, somebody under contract to us?
No, he's an employee.
He's an employee.
Yeah, he's a part-time employee.
all right.
Hanging curtain rods is one of those things that fall under.
No, but the ability for us to take care of physical things like that without having to turn to the facilities department.
Work request and
That's aces.
going on, yes. He's invaluable. He also helped set up not only this room, but all the other things. He's invaluable. Any other questions on house from anyone?
Diane, could you just repeat where that tree is going? I kind of,
It was already installed.
no, where is it? You said it's in the front?
Yes, but it's in the parking lot and it's right behind the little free library. We had a tree there that had died and it's the replacement tree.
Gotcha, thanks.
Yep. So anybody watching knows that from where I'm sitting, the tree was that way. All right. Facility and site, Maureen Lyons.
Hi, we had a meeting recently, and folks are not happy with the way things are going with our lookbook and with what LDS has offered us. So I reached out to LDS with several suggested enhancements and changes to their proposal. And this was before the holiday. They got back to me and they're willing to work with us, but it's going to cost us. So I am trying to set up a meeting. I'd like just a committee meeting, not the full board. I'd like to have a working committee meeting. And the first email I sent with dates, I wasn't anywhere near a full complement. So I resent an email and I'm waiting to hear from everybody. It would be the week of dates in the week of January 22nd. And we need to, well, first of all, look at the proposal and make some decisions as to whether or not we're going to expend more money. And then, of course, present our findings to the full board. But in the meantime, what they have given us, whether we are 100% pleased with it or not, it's all conceptual. That's ours because we paid for it, right, Diane? We don't have to, okay. So we can take what we have and enhance it with, there's always, we have cherry picked from other libraries, from publications, concepts about what a children's area should look like or meeting rooms or something, and hopefully craft a lookbook, because now, and especially according to Andy, and I trust his opinion, that this is a ripe time to go before the new town council. He feels they would be receptive to expansion plans. So I'm waiting to hear about this meeting, and hopefully it'll be a productive working meeting. I don't know if we develop a lookbook, but closer than what we are right now, talk about the new proposal, which I sent to the committee from LDS, or really from Berman, from the architect. It looks like it's an additional $9,000+ for them to accommodate our latest request. And so we need to discuss that and then move forward expeditiously and quickly.
Thank you, Maureen. Any questions for Maureen?
I'm just looking forward to the working meeting, because I know, Maureen, I think that this is Chris speaking, I think we really need to nail down exactly what we're gonna try to present through. Because I mean, I saw that quote for the lookbook and I'm like, well, I'm concerned about that amount of money. I'm just like, it'd be good to know exactly specifically what we're trying to go in for and what we're trying to present. Because I got the feeling there's still some discussions going on about what we should include and what we shouldn't include. And,
right.
What's like the best presentation, so.
Yeah, there's varying opinions. I'm not, I mean, a lot of the opinion has to do with, it's subjective. Some people want to keep the look of the existing library, the traditional look, and then there are those who like the more modern look, but that's all conceptual. If we give the town council a lookbook that has pink furniture in it, that doesn't mean that that's what the library is going to look like. Certainly the emphasis is conceptual, but right, we need to nail down exactly what we want that lookbook, pamphlet, whatever we want to call it, to look like, that will grab the council. I know Anna is of the opinion that PowerPoint presentation that the Board of Ed did for Anna Reynolds did the trick. But they had, that was a whole different situation, talking to a group of parents about worms in the hallway. I think is more of an impact than, our staff, you know, elbow to elbow in a hidden office. Not that we think it's important, but nobody sees it, so it doesn't affect them. So
Okay,
yes,
so the
you're
goal-
absolutely right, Chris. We have a lot of work to do.
So the goal for that committee meeting would be to determine if we have what we need to develop a conceptual lookbook so that we could move forward, or if we have to go back and spend monies to clarify a list of something that may or may not be there. Would that be the
Right.
goal of the meeting? Okay.
Just quickly, Lisa, do we have any money left in that? You know, we've been doing purchase orders. There was some
Yeah.
allocation.
I'd have to check that, Maureen. I don't know off the top of my head. We can find out for you though.
Thank you. And I'm asking the question. I'm not saying we're gonna spend that money. That's, you know, we've got to cut it off at some point, I think. But if you could get that information, it would be helpful.
I'll do that tomorrow.
So
Thank you, Maureen.
I want to share something. And I meant to send something earlier today and I created it and put it in draft and then forgot to send it. So I apologize for my fog. But I was reading another newsletter from another Connecticut nonprofit today, and they had a year-end recap. And I've sent you the link to it because it's an interactive online flip book. And it was wonderful. And, you know, that's not something we talked about. That's not something that the consultants even suggested. I don't know anything about how it was created. I just thought it was a great resource because, you know, you can send out, you know, when we get to the point where we're bombarding the community with emails about our expansion, and hopefully we will be bombarding, you know, I mean, it's something, you know, it's a link. It's not, you know, it's not something of physical, something that we're printing and adding more to the rubbish pile.
Sounds
you
like
know.
a great idea, Anna.
Yeah, so I just when you started talking, I went, oh my goodness, why didn't I, you know, I forgot. So I just sent it out so people can see it. Yeah.
Thank you, Anna.
It's another thing for us to consider. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or thoughts on the facility and site? Thank you. Anna, we'll move on to fund development with Anna Eddy.
Took myself on mute. Hold on a minute. Let's see, which hat am I wearing?
Anna's actually dealing with a cold and running 2 computers as she tries to take the notes here. So kudos to Anna for her efforts this evening.
Yeah, so if you could speed it up a little bit, I'd appreciate it.
Talk fast, Anna.
To go back to Winterfest, last month I mentioned that we should have a table at Winterfest. I'm assuming that we're tucked away into some corner. You know, I mean, I plan on being there. I will probably wear a mask. I don't need another COVID rebound, but it would be nice if somebody was there with me. You know, I would like to be able to walk around a little bit during the night, not just be, you know, tethered to the table. So I don't know who else is planning on going.
Anna,
yeah.
I'll be available to help you. This is
Okay.
Maureen.
Maureen, I know your voice.
And it's Diane. I can do a little bit of time on the table too.
Okay.
I would suggest being there by 5:30 to set up.
Okay.
And
All right.
Park at the senior center.
Okay. And is anybody else on the board going to be there? I guess not. No?
George said he'd be there.
Okay, George, can you think you could help a little bit?
Sure.
Okay, yeah.
No, I wanted to ask, I haven't bought a ticket. Can I get in still? There's a chance of me getting in?
Oh, but if you're a volunteer, Neil, you can get in.
Oh, all right.
Well, yeah.
Oh. And the date is the 19th, correct?
Yeah.
And you'd want volunteers to show up at?
5:30.
5:30.
Volunteer
Well, we don't all
tickets.
need to be there at 5:30,
Okay.
and I'll talk to,
There's still a volunteer ticket that you need to purchase. It's a reduced price,
oh,
but you need to
okay.
come and you need to volunteer and you need to work, and even those tickets are limited.
It's my own fault. I didn't get on this as soon as I should have.
They were
Um,
sold out really quick.
Yeah,
Now that we have limits.
yeah, and I'll speak to Lisa about our Chachi things, which will be the same things we used at the Hanel concert.
Okay.
Okay.
And
And also-
Anna, the other thing, Anna, that I was thinking about, just,
Pauline.
this is Pauline.
Yeah.
At the table, we have that Amazon Smile. No,
I don't think they're doing
Amazon
Amazon
Smile
Smile
doesn't
doesn't
do
do
it
it anymore.
discontinued it?
They
It
won't
doesn't
do
exist
that.
anymore.
Oh, that's fine. Is there any other kind of thing that?
No, what we're pushing is the Ways to Give campaign and
Yeah,
getting people to sign up for the board, the trustees email list and
Yeah.
pushing the different ways to give, which is, the online donations and the Lucy's Capital Council.
all right.
Yeah, so
So, Anna, can I add something?
Yeah.
The passport that they have that night, the people have to stop at your table if they want to
Right.
have their passport.
right, so
So-
that forces them, that drives them to the table to get a stamp. Not that they're going to stay and talk to us, but at least they'll come by.
Right.
Maybe we'll engage a few. So, Pauline's question, segues into the capital council program. I thought, I'm always, I guess I'm a little bit of a, optimistic. There's some, I can't remember, there's some movie character that's, ever so optimistic. And, anyway, I guess my head's in the clouds. I would really have thought that more people would buy into this. We haven't into the sustaining program and the capital council. And, we haven't gotten too far. I did mention last month that Fiona and I are going to have to work together to promote it. I know she started a press release or something for us to, lay the groundwork with Newington Life. And, that's the next thing that we have to go. We need to put this front and center for the community, to make more people aware, of what we're doing. And, maybe, we can highlight it in one of Lisa's emails to her readers, announcing that, we launched this. But I guess it's going to be, slower growing than I had hoped. I just checked Network for Good to see if we had any other, people signed up, and we haven't. Well, I shouldn't say that. We had one person sign up as a quarterly recurring donor. So, that's one is not going to stop the, is not going to plug that hole that we're looking to plug. So anyway, so that's it. We continue to plot on.
All right. Thank you, Anna. Any questions?
There was only one comment I made. I was at the Hanel event. I was surprised at how many people would not give out their email address. Me, I don't care. If you don't have to read it, you can swipe it off, but they really would not give an email address. And I have no idea how.
I think they're afraid they're gonna get bombarded.
Yeah.
Like, you have to kind of assure them that it's, well, what the purpose of it is.
And that we're not selling them to
Right,
anybody else.
right. I do think people are worried about that.
But those are good points for those of us volunteering ever at those tables. We're gonna take this email, we'll send it to you, we'll send you how many mailings a year. You gotta be careful with that, so that we don't scare them away.
They know we're gonna ask you for money.
Well,
Excuse me. Okay. Thank you, Anna.
Okay.
Nominations, there are no nominations at this time of year, so we'll skip over that. Communications Committee, Fiona, Christine, I still have you listed on there.
I don't really have much of an update other than, working on what, just mentioned, the press release for the Capitol Council and the press release for the SLEVA event, which I need to do ASAP because it's early. Is it earlier this year than it was last year?
I think so.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll email you just for more, or no, I should email Bailey for the information.
Yeah,
Okay.
Bailey would be the best
Okay.
person. Yeah.
She gave me all the info last year, I think, so I'll email her. Thank you. And that's all I have.
Great. Any questions or suggestions for a communication committee? Anyone? No? Okay, thank you. Old business. Old business, which always seems like new business, the library 5K road race, we had our meeting earlier, today. It's our first meeting of the season and we're moving along, trying to reach out and get everything set up. As it says here, the race is May 19th, it's the Sunday after Mother's Day. And, we're moving along. Next month, we will again have the meeting before our board meeting and we will start at 6:15 next month. I'll see you there.
Diane, this is Chris, I just had a quick question, because I'm kind of new to this.
Yes.
Who's the main guy that was speaking? there?
Oh, I'm sorry. Kevin Mason has run the race on the day of the race and handled registrations and stuff all along. He's a former board member, he's a longtime Newington resident.
Okay,
Introduce you next time, I'm sorry.
okay,
Yeah,
that's all right, and the guy that was sitting across.
That's Ron.
Ron Tramadio.
Ron
and
from there.
He's a longtime Newington resident fixture. If those two suddenly decided not to do the race, I don't know that we would be able to pull it off. So they are extremely important. They volunteered for this since the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Ron,
Which is over
Ron's a
25 years.
former runner too. And Kevin too. They're both are former runners.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Sorry that.
No, that's all right, it felt like I came in the middle, because I'm not sure who they were, so.
Right, and so for other folks that don't attend, the council members and stuff like that, if you see that meeting going on, you're welcome to hang out in the hall, you're welcome to come in quietly and sit down and hear the little piece parts that are there. Whatever, but it is, normally the full board is expected to attend the 5K race committee meeting. And we always joke, although sometimes it happens, right, Andy? If you don't come to the meeting, you get volunteered by your best friends. That's what Anna did last year.
Yeah.
So be careful. But
However, if you do it this year, I'll be in Istanbul, so you're all gonna have to come to me.
They run there.
all right, so that's that. And then open board positions. We still have Republican positions open on our board, so.
I will mention it again.
Maybe you're gonna have to do
Next
some
week.
arm twisting.
We've had to. We continue.
Yeah.
All right.
Has there been a Republican town committee meeting since the election?
No. They canceled the one in December, there is one on the 11th. It's a caucus, so I don't know whether it's an open meeting to discuss anything else or not.
So it'd be a good opportunity to review all of the open board positions, all the boards and commissions. Maybe try to get some people on those.
I hesitate to ask this online, but volunteering for boards, is it down everywhere? Is it just not interested in the library? What's going on over there?
Volunteerism is not,
Acceptable.
not as
Yeah.
viable as it used to be
Right.
generally. So it isn't just the library. And that's why you will find that there are people who are on 2, 3, 4 of them. It's not. It's
Those
just the
that do
lack
them,
of
those that
people
duck.
and of new people coming in that wish to join the town committee, at least on the Republican side. Don't know if that's true on the other side of the aisle as well. I know just generally in chatting over the past year or so or 2 years, it's just more and more difficult to find people who are willing to volunteer in those kind of capacities.
I think people get bogged down with so many other things that they just don't have the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but there's no not that we're a political board, but there's no Republican,
I know.
participation. Okay, any other thoughts or questions? Anybody knows anybody who happens to be interested in becoming a board member? Our corporate positions, I believe, are all filled at this point. But certainly we could register them as Republicans and see if they're interested as we go through there. All right. Going to the end, public participation. Is there anybody online? No? Okay, anything else from the town councilors? You want to circle back to her?
Just one thing, and I know Dave, we probably have discussed this at some point over the last couple of years, but Diane and I met at Walmart.
Where are you gonna run into your constituents?
And again, we had a conversation regarding tour of the library for the new mayor and the town council. Even though some of us know a lot about what happens and what goes on here, we don't know everything. And I think particularly for some of the newer council members, it would be a real eye opener. And I think it's where we are at this moment in time is, it's a good idea. So I've raised it. We're interested. I'm sure we'll have to figure out days and times and juggle them, but just to let you know that that's something that we'd like to do. We may not be able to do it. Probably wouldn't be a good idea to do it as a giant group, but
If you came, I was thinking about it, if you came on a Saturday morning before we open, then you could come as a bigger group. And we could take you, keep it no more than an hour. That would be enough for anybody. But just, that we could do kind of like what we've done with new board members and just take you through all the different areas and just tell you about what goes on quickly, briefly.
yeah, I just think it's so important that people get the true sense and the depth and the breadth of everything that goes on here at the library.
Maybe this isn't a fair question, but.
Oh, but ask it anyway.
No, it's going through my mind, do these new members on the council, do they have library cards?
Yes. They
You're sure
do.
all of them do?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
okay.
they
You know,
have
because
talked.
I figured, hey, here's an application for a library
There
card.
you go. Or the Legacy Society, yeah.
Right. Checking, I was
I
curious.
guess would be,
Yeah, I've heard conversations or comments about the value that the library has had and continues to have in
We've
people's
had
lives.
them before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were,
Just new blood.
Lisa,
I hate to say ascots,
I was gonna say.
but also keep in mind that the budget's coming up, and that will occupy people's minds even on Saturday mornings. If I see the plan that's scheduled for this year that we got to review, so.
Yeah.
Well, if you just vote yes on the library stuff. And then we just,
We'll give you a free library card if you vote yes.
Plus,
There
it's
is-
as fascinating as going to behind the scenes at Disney.
I'll have two.
Well, there you go.
That's right.
There you go.
One for your right hand.
And you get to see the worms like Anna Reynolds, you get to see all that, to know why we're asking for stuff.
We have no worms, correct?
Do one of the locked room.
Look, I just find worms.
The seller and let him check it out.
That'll let the staff.
Yeah, there's some.
Well, just come here to.
Diane, it's Anna.
Yes, Anna, go ahead.
I just want to add, I was at a chamber meeting in December, and one of the new town council members was there, Kathy Gonzalez, and she was very interested in what we're doing and had, suggested that we round up the council and bring them over. They were, she was very, very, very supportive already without, Lisa, I think she did a tour with you, yes?
No.
No, not yet?
No,
Okay.
I don't think they've done the tours yet, and that's the thing. Lisa always offers, there is budget season or whatever, so maybe we'd ask you guys to really talk up the Disney, behind the scenes tour there. And,
Well,
you know.
she gave me her
David
phone
decided-
number, so I have a direct line now. She gave me her personal phone number.
Well, one thing, another thing I can mention very briefly is that, there are quite a few of us that will be volunteering and or attending Winterfest, and people are looking forward to it. And Gail and I have already said that, we'll be slinging food again like we did last year, so I'm looking forward to doing that.
But that isn't the time to do behind the scenes.
Your town
Yeah.
council works at work? Is that?
That's what it is.
There you
Is
go.
that what you're promoting? Your town councilors at work?
Feeding the masses.
Yes.
How that goes there. All right, not seeing any other public participation. I would entertain a movement for adjournment. Iris made the motion first and Leanne seconded it. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No, motion carries. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you at
Hey,
Winterfest. We'll see
very
you-
good.
Thank you. Hey, Diane, notice the
Yes.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that, 8:17.
Tonight, Diane.
Well done.
Get the video and you can also get the transcript.
Yes.
Yes.
That might be useful if you can instruct Anna as to how to access that.
And the transcript afterwards, because I was reading the transcript and it was only something, but one of the words that thought you were saying.
Yeah,
But
it wasn't bad though.
It wasn't bad, but there were some.